Okay traders, what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to walk you through the all new volume profile composites indicator within the TickBlaze platform. Now the power behind profile composites is that it can be used for micro and macro volume profiling, and the reason it's so useful is that it's really about the institutional auction. Now when you go into the TickBlaze platform, what you do is you just right click on a chart, you come into indicators, you go all the way down to volume, and you're going to see volume profile composites. This is an indicator that allows you to use multi-time frame volume profiles. Now I've already got it loaded on my chart, so you can also go into the right click menu, hit indicators, and you go into the settings, and once it's on your chart, you'll be able to actually see all of the different parameters that we can actually manipulate and control the usage of the software. Now what's really powerful about the profile composites is that we've actually built it for multi-time frame profiling. Unlike standard platforms that just give you volume profiles, we actually leverage multi-time frames enabled to give you profiles for yearly composites, monthly composites, weekly, or even daily composites. We also give you the opportunity to be able to filter based off of different data sources, depending on if you're looking at smaller time frame profiles or macro profiles. You can load tick data, you could load second data, minute, or you can pull the data directly from the chart. You can also control the size of your profiles based off of tick increments or counts based on number of histograms on your chart. And you can actually control the width of those profiles by looking at the different granularity. Some markets have more granularity than others, so you want to basically use this to manipulate the size of the profiles. Now the big components here are the basic visuals, where you can control the colors of the profiles, the value area highs and lows. You can change the color opacities. You can look at different aspects of the volume. You can also display the text and the prices and the levels for the profiles. And I've already pre-configured all this for the purpose of this video, but be sure to use the software, find the colors that you like, turn the settings on, and you'll be able to use them to your own advantage, okay? And once you do that, make sure you set it as a default, so every time you load the indicator, it'll ultimately load the colors and the settings that you prefer, okay? Now what you're seeing here is I've actually loaded a fairly large look back. I actually have 1 year of data because I actually have large profiles on my chart. I'm actually using monthly auctions. And the reason I wanted to show you monthly auctions is because, unlike just standard tutorial videos, I wanted to actually give you some actionable strategies that you could use with the software just by watching this video. Now I'm going to pull a little notepad down here so you can see that when you're looking at composite profiles, you're essentially using multi-time frame analysis for profiling. And many of you may be using multi-time frames in your trading already, like the daily, the weekly, the monthly, or even the 4-hour, the hourly, or sometimes you day traders out there, you'll be using the 5-minute and the 1-minute and the 15-minute charts. Well, what most people are not aware of is that you can actually do the same thing with volume profiles. And when you look at the daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly auctions, what you're able to do is you're able to leverage different data points for very, very high probability trade setups. And the key thing about auction theory is that when the profile's complete, like the end of a day or the end of a week or the end of a month or even the end of a year, all of the big institutions can actually see those levels on the chart, and they use them to formulate actionable trading decisions, especially when you're looking at prior volume profile levels on the point of control, areas of value high and value auctions. And then what's really important is about understanding the liquidity, right? The whole point of volume profile is looking at high volume and low volume locations. And when you do this on big picture profiles, it can be exceptionally powerful, especially for day trading or even swing trading for us retail traders out there, okay? Now what I wanna do is I wanna start by just showing you how we can change the granularity of this. I'm gonna go in and we're gonna start by going in and we're gonna look at, let's just pull down and let's say you wanna look at the daily auctions, okay? Now I'm gonna load the daily auctions. Now I'm loading a year of data, so just give it a second to load. It's a lot of charts to load. And we're gonna give it 1 second to populate. And once it populates, it's gonna profile. And now these are gonna be the auctions based on every single day. And if you come in, you're gonna see you've got, pretty much the profile. You've got high volume nodes, low volume nodes, the value area high, the value area low, and the point of control. And you can see the value areas are different colors in the high volume and the low volume areas. You can see the value area high is in red. the value area low is blue, and then you've got basically the value area high and low in the white levels on the chart. Now, a lot of day traders will use the daily auction, but what I've found over the years is that everybody can see it, and pretty much everybody's looking at it, which kind of eliminates the potency of what could be done with the daily auction. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you some unorthodox strategies that you could spend some time looking at and see if it's going to be useful for your own trading, right? And like I said before, I don't want this video to just be about setting colors and looking at features. You can do that using this video, but I also want to give you some actionable strategies that you could actually look to take here and actually study and potentially look to trade, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the settings, okay? We're going to go into indicators. We're going to change this, and I'm going to go into volume profiles. I'm going to go down here, and we're going to start with the yearly auction. Now this is a very, very big profile outlook. I would not recommend that you do this every single week or every single even month, mind you, but you could actually take a look at the yearly auction for a second, and we're going to basically come in here, and I'm going to show you that the reason I'm doing this is because we're actually in January. So we literally just started the new year, and I'm just going to grab a vertical line. I'm going to draw it on the chart. You can see that the new year just started right here. Now, why is this important? Well, because the prior year has some pretty significant data points. You've got the value area high here. You've got the point of control. You've got the value area low. You've also got high volume nodes, and then you've got low volume nodes, right? And these can be used to your advantage. And I'm going to show you how powerful this can be when looking at different types of profiling. Now, you wouldn't do this all the time because yearly profiles only update once a year. So that's a very, very macro view on volume profiles. But what you can do once the year finishes, and you can use this every single year, is you can actually go in and you can start mapping out. I'm going to drag this down a little bit. Once the year is finished, okay, just like that, you can actually look to see low volume and high volume points. And if we go in here, and I'm going to go and I'm going to draw some nodes here. I'm going to actually show you how to do this. You can come in here and grab the horizontal zone. You can come in here and you can grab low volume pockets, right? Just like this, okay? These are low volume nodes. And low volume nodes can be very powerful because they're going to be able to reject the market. And if you look at what's happened already since the start of this year, if I just go in and I actually zoom in here, watch what happens when the market came down to that low volume node. And I'm going to show you here, if you take a look, you can see the market came right down into that low volume node from the prior auction and had a huge trade out of it. And these are things that you can use with big picture profiling that most people don't even aware is at your advantage. If we come all the way up, take a look at what happened off this node. You can take a look here and you can see that it came right into the low volume node from the prior year's auction, and it literally created a huge trade, right? Like these are really, really, really big trades that most people don't even know are there because you're using profile theory from the prior auction that is now static. You would never use the yearly auction that is in the current year. You only use historical auctions for this type of information. And I normally like to play a level once. You normally don't like to do that, all the time. You can see as the market came up, look at when the market came back up to this new level. So this was a new level here. This was a new level here. We don't trade this because we started there, okay? And we don't trade this because we've already traded it. We're not trading this because we started here. We don't trade this because we've already traded it. But take a look when we came back up to this fresh location. Huge trade came out of there, and we're actually sitting there right now. We're actually sitting there rotating out of this location. But as a trader intraday or even a swing trader, that's a really big play. And you can start to see the power of when you look at a prior auction that is now static. And what do I mean by static? I mean, once the auction is completed, right? Once the year is done, you can literally go and map out all of the nodes that are low volume, and those can be really, really powerful trade locations. Okay, now I'm going to start over here. We're going to go and we're going to remove the drawings. You can also do that for high volume nodes as well, but I tend to find a lot more rejections come from the low volume locations, and I think you'll have a better accuracy, especially for new traders trading low volume than high volume. High volume can be great for certain points, like the point of control on a prior auction, but most traders are going to see better success out of low volume locations. Okay. Now we wouldn't use this because, like I said, this is a yearly auction and this is going to keep populating throughout the entire year. What can we do now to go down in time frames? Let's go into the actual settings. I'm going to set this to monthly. Now the monthlies can be very powerful, especially for day traders and swing traders, because you've got 12 opportunities every single year to plot new trade locations. So what I would encourage you to consider is at the end of every single month, you can locate really, really good trades going into the next month. And this is very, very powerful. And we're gonna go through some locations here and we're actually gonna show you what just happened recently on the last month. Now let's zoom in, okay? And I'm just gonna draw a vertical line just like this, because this is essentially where the new month started, right here. Okay, so let's just go here to the prior month, okay? Now this month just finished. This was the December auction. And, you know, day traders may say, wow, that's way too big, right? Like you're looking at such a big time frame. Well, we're not really looking at a time frame. We're looking at a period of time that is finished. And then we're looking at the auction with regards to liquidity that took place during that time. And if you look at what happens once the auction closes, we can see high volume nodes, low volume nodes, high volume nodes, low volume nodes. We've got the value area high right here, okay? We've got the point of control, this yellow line. We've got the value area low. We've got high volume, right? We've got low volume right here. And the reason this is important is we get to formulate an actionable trading thesis going into the next month. Now I'm gonna come in here and we're gonna go in, we're gonna locate how to grab a horizontal zone. I'm gonna locate the low volume node here, low volume node here, okay? We're gonna do low volume nodes right here and low volume nodes right here, okay? And if you look at what's gonna happen now, if I just zoom in, we're gonna come in here, the market dropped right down into this low volume node from the prior auction, okay? Had a huge trade out of it, right? And it doesn't matter if you're trading on a 5-minute chart, 10-minute chart, a 1-minute chart, the market stopped right here in that low volume auction. We don't trade the auction, the node that we opened into. Remember, this is something we do not touch because that is the level in which we opened on the auction. And remember, never do that. Now you're gonna see this was a fresh trade. We have 2 opportunities up here and we have another opportunity up here. Let's see how the market's already responded this month into those low volume nodes. Look at that huge trade. This is insane. If all you do is map out the prior month's low volume nodes and you use those as your sniper kill shots going into the next month, you could literally do this on every single market in the industry. You could do this on futures, you could do this on Forex, you could do this on stocks, cryptocurrencies, and literally all you need to do is look at the prior month, okay? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 really high probability trade locations, okay? We're not gonna include this one because we opened this up, so we've got 3 essentially, 1, 2, and 3. And if you do that on 10 or 15 markets at the end of every month, you map out your trade plan. These are banger trades. Like that is like the risk reward to this is like almost 7 to 1. Same thing here. This is like a huge trade. And I encourage you to spend some time looking at this when we get back up here. Look, we're almost up here in this auction. I wouldn't be surprised if we try to sweep the liquidity here, hit the low volume node and then tank, right? But we haven't had that happen yet. This is real time, okay? So this is what I would really encourage you to do. I would really encourage you to take what I'm teaching you with multi-time frame profiling, come in, right click, go to the indicators, go to the volume profile composites, load the monthly and load the yearly auctions. And then at the end of every month, map those out so that you can identify very, very high probability trade locations, okay? Another thing that you can actually do is you can look at the point of control. The point of control is actually a very significant location in a prior auction because it's essentially the benchmark of volume that is basically dictated the highest point of liquidity. Now, when you look at the point of control, I'll give you an example. If you look at what happened here on this prior auction, okay? If I just draw a vertical line, this was where the auction changed, okay? And you'll notice that there was a point of control, this yellow line here. This yellow line right here. So if I draw a line right there, you're gonna see the market opened up, it touched that point of control, and then it came all the way back down to test it. Now, this is a very good trading opportunity. Why? Because you only get one of these every single month, but when it happens, it happens. The low volume nodes are gonna be an amazing trade. So you got the low volume nodes, and you've got the point of control retest from the prior auction. And so you have several different trades that you can take from using the profile composites. Let me show you the month before, okay? So I'm gonna show you this. I'm gonna draw, let's grab the horizontal zone. There was the point of control. Let's just draw a little zone around it, just like that. And if you look, that was the point of control when we closed. We open up, okay, it trades through. Look what it did. It retested here on the retest, and then watch what happens after you get this huge move away from it. It always comes back to retest. So normally what ends up happening is you're gonna get the initial reaction through the point of control, and then when the market comes back, it's gonna come back to test that volume. And that's what you've seen in the prior auction in the month after this. We've seen the exact same thing. The market traded through it right away. Right here, the market traded through it, and then it came right back down to test it in the middle of the month. These are huge trades. Take a look at this. Massive trade, massive trade. So these are additional trade setups that you can take over and above the low volume nodes. And if you go back and you take a look at the point of control, even at the prior months, let's go back and do this one, okay? And I'm just trying to give you free trading strategies that are exceptionally consistent and happen every single time an auction closes, because that's the whole point of an auction. You want to see the volume profile finish what it's doing, give you an actionable edge that you can make decisions on, and then use that for historical price locations. So watch what happens. The market came back up, came right out of there. Take a look, it rotated out of there. That would have been a decent trade, wasn't huge. And then watch what happened. It came back on the other side of it. Huge trade, huge trade. Had a trade out of here, right there. As a day trade, those are big day trades. Remember, this is a 60-minute chart, and I'm using monthly auctions, right? Take a look at how big that rotation came out of that high volume area, right? So these are things that I would encourage you to take a look at when using the profile composites. I tend to use the monthlies and the yearlies for big areas of interest. Some people will always say, well, why do you use such a big look back on these? And the answer is very simple. Nobody else is doing it. And nobody's even paying attention to the static auctions from the prior month or the prior year. And these are where the biggest trades move from, because this is what the institutions are looking at, okay? So what I want you to do after watching this video is I want you to grab a chart. I want you to add the indicator to the chart, go down to volume profile composites. Once you get in, I want you to go in and I want you to set your settings. Go in and actually change monthly and yearly auctions, or even weekly and monthly. You can do weekly. The same concepts can be done on the weekly. I just don't normally see these types of consistent edge happening on the daily profiles. I normally like to use weekly, monthly, and yearlies. They just tend to be much more powerful for this type of trading, and it's a lot easier to prep and it's a lot easier to follow, okay? Then go in here, and I would suggest leaving it on minute. The only time I would use a tick-driven composite is if you're using intraday markets, like on range charts or Renko charts, and using very small time frames. I would always leave it to ticks, and then you can change the granularity as you want the visuals to change. I would also go in and make sure you change all your settings so that they are custom, preferable to you, and then set them as a default so when you load the indicator on any charts, it is loading the way you want it, okay? So traders, make some comments, like the video, share it. Hopefully you learned something, and be on the lookout. We're going to be putting out new videos for other volume profile trading strategies here in the near future. Take care, and we'll see you on the charts. Happy trading.